Hello there, listener. You're very welcome back to The Road Back Home. This is another episode with just me, Amanda. I am on a little bit of a tour this week. I'm doing a little bit of travel, and so I thought I would dip into the archives and bring you a conversation from a few years ago, from a series of conversations that I had as part of a course that I offered a few years ago, and that course was called Creative Wayfinding. And I had a series of conversations with women who I had either learned something from, or who I had an experience with, or who inspired me in some way that I wanted to talk about with them and then share that conversation with others. And so these conversations, I think they're from 2021. This conversation in particular is with Tara Morris. Tara is a photographer and a yoga teacher. Tara is a person who, like, I'd say in my lifetime, there's been maybe a handful of times when I have felt seen in a way that I never thought I would be, or when I've had a part of me who was struggling to emerge seen in the world. And Tara is one of those people who, I met Tara back in 2014 in Ireland on an art retreat. And it was my very first art retreat. And I felt like a total imposter being there. But it was also my coming out as an artist, even though I've been in creative all my life. And it was me bringing, finally claiming a part of my identity that I never really felt worthy of owning. And during this time at this retreat, Tara saw it. She saw it in me like clear as day. And of course, not having known me prior to that, she didn't see it as something that was newly emerging in me. She just saw it as something that was there. And so she, I guess, received me as that person, as if I'd always been her. And it just had a profound impact on me in the way that it does when you are seen when you are seen in a way that you're not used to being seen, or that you're seen in a way that you want to be seen, and just aren't allowing yourself to be seen. It's probably happened to me maybe 5 times in my life. And so this is one of those times. And that is why Tara is one of the people that I had one of these conversations with. So as I said, Tara is a photographer. She's a yoga teacher. She's also just an incredible human. Her energy is infectious. She is a riot. She's also a truth teller. She is like me. She's messy. She just says the thing. She's not like a polished, perfectly executed kind of a person. Like Tara is somebody who, once you get to know her, you'll see that she's as real as they get. And of course, I love that about her. So we have this conversation. We had no idea what we were going to talk about, really. We had nothing planned other than to say, I reached out and said, will you get on a call and let's just talk about something and see where it goes. And where it ended up was being a conversation about what it means to be free. Free in your body, free in your story, free from your story, I should say, free in your spirit. And it was about, who we can be maybe beyond the stories that keep us small. And we talked about, numbing feelings and feeling feelings. And we talked about being in the mud, and we talked about being real and, being in those unresolved places that are not perfect and are not finished. And we don't even just being in the dark. And Tara also shared, so when we recorded this, Tara had just experienced a series of bereavements, which she will talk about. And so she was right in the thick of grief. My father, I was in the aftermath of my father's death. I was like a couple of, my dad had died in the couple of years before this course. But that experience in my life informed a lot of my work, going forward around that time. So just to give a bit of context as to where we were as humans when we were having this conversation. And it's a messy conversation. It kind of like, we just are grasping around like what's here to discuss. And like I said, we do actually end up on something in terms of like this idea of what it means to be free. So um, I also want to just note that, neither of us were using microphones. So the quality is fine. It's just, not probably what you're used to on this podcast because I usually use microphones, but it's fine and it'll do. So if you have ever struggled with, limiting beliefs, limiting stories, body image, perfectionism, or, struggling with a voice that says you're just not worthy of love, you're not worthy of being seen as you are, I hope that this conversation will meet you exactly where you need to be met. Tara, right now, I will link you to all her places in the show notes. I'm delighted to hear that she is currently writing a book. And she also is, she's a retreat leader. So there's probably opportunities to go and have some wonderful experiences with Tara if you follow the links. And after that, there's not much more I can say other than to hand you over to this conversation with the effervescent and magnificent Tara Morris. Tara, I am so thrilled that you are here. This is Tara Morris. Tara, you're a photographer. I first met you in 2013-14 here in Ireland in Bantry. I was like, this girl and her energy are who I want to be when I grow up. I want this effect on people. So that, and thank you. And also you took my very first artist's headshot. Thank you very much. And I'd like for you to introduce yourself as you see you, if you wouldn't mind.
That was really nice. Thank you so much. I am a photographer and a yoga teacher and a retreat leader in Providence, Rhode Island, just outside of Boston. And I've been a family and portrait photographer for 15 years, and I've been a yoga teacher for 6. And it's all sort of the same. It's all really it's kind of from the same root of love and friendship. The way I photograph, I've been photographing my best friends since I was 14, and I loved my friends and still do. They're still my best friends, and I wanted to celebrate them. I wanted to show them how beautiful that I see them. And so my mom gave me my first camera when I was 14, and I set up these elaborate photo shoots in 1991. So, they're not exactly timeless hairstyles and braces and outfits, but it's classic. And that's where I started to learn how to celebrate people through photography. So the fact that you felt that makes me feel really, really good, because it's so 100% genuine. In my yoga practice and the way I teach yoga is all out of gratitude for having a healthy body, because I just lost my mother after 25 years of Parkinson's disease, and watched her, who's really my giant, my partner in crime, my favorite person, really lose her freedom one cruelty at a time. And so any day that I'm alive and well and can move my body and release tension and release stress and breathe and be in the moment, I'm really genuinely deeply grateful for that. So that's my story.
Yes, and that so comes across, Tara. And I have just read a poem to you, and I think you where did you have something to?
Absolutely.
I
So
hit record. You were like, I'm ready to talk, and then I was like, oh shit, we need
yeah,
to
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
it's just so funny. It's just so funny that we really like each other, and we follow each other on Instagram, but we really don't know each other that well, and you would have no idea of what I'm going through. But I had a breakup on September 17th this year, and my mother died on September 19th. And so that amount of absolutely overwhelmed with anxiety, overwhelmed with loss, had to steady myself with my hands for a long time. And me and my friend sort of put off an actual breakup until 2 or 3 weeks ago. And so now without him, I now feel that he was the buoy that was keeping me from really feeling not just the loss of my mom, because that's obviously a natural process, but my whole adult life watching her die. Um, and the decisions that I've made that I thought were genuine, like being ultra independent and traveling the world by myself. And I sort of spent my whole life, I used to see it as just being super independent and adventurous. But I think underneath that was a real fear of intimacy and being hurt. But I think you mentioned Brene Brown. I mean, I'm face down in the arena right now. I'm absolutely face down in the arena, and I hate being here. I absolutely hate being here, but I can't stay here for long. So a breakdown, which I think a lot of people do this, my breakdown a few weeks ago just immediately started a complete spiritual breakthrough. I mean, and the only way I can describe, Brene calls it an arena and face down. I'm at the bottom of a ditch, and my genuine love of life, and people is the thing that makes me crawl out, and I am I don't want even though, and I'm 46, so I've been face down a million times, and I can't learn a lesson to save my life unless I'm face down. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I'm in a good time, I don't meditate. I don't do my personal work because I'm like, oh, that was then. I don't even need personal work anymore. Like, I get it. Thank you, though. Thank you. And then life will be like, fuck you. You do not get it. You're lying to yourself. It's like there's a Tara Brach, another one of my teachers, my leaders. She calls self-love crossing the abyss. Yeah. And I don't know if I'll ever really truly feel like I'm a butterfly just like on a beautiful flower, but I'm doing the work and I'm struggling, and I fucking hate struggling. You know what I mean? And I know I won't forever, but I hate this. Do you know what I mean?
I totally do. And in regards to the process we're undergoing in our course, this creative wayfinding course, this is what we call the goo. So you are in the goo stage now, where it's like you're the caterpillar who didn't want to die, and I am that caterpillar too, because I've tried to hack the system and be the high class caterpillar because I don't want to die. So that's where you're at now, and the butterfly is where you want to be, because the butterfly is the one out there living their life and being, so that's why I see you as a teacher of let's say the triumph. You like to be there, and you're good there, because that's all about gratitude. It's all about celebrating. It's all about seeing the things to be grateful for when there is so much to be scared about. My coach asked me a great question the other day. If you weren't so fucking preoccupied with this thing that you're preoccupied with, well, how else would you invest that energy? And I see you out in, where is it, Somalia? You've been like India. You're like out there in the world drinking it in. And that's why you would be my teacher for this thing. So I'm so sorry that you're in the fucking goo. I know.
No, because it isn't linear, and you don't just do it once. All of that you have seen is my light, is my best side, and I don't just only live there. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
I just lost both of my parents, my relationship, my first dog, a pregnancy. Like, I'm in it. Like, and I will come out of it. And I still, if I wasn't preoccupied, I would be in connection, creativity, and inspiration. That is what I want from my life. when I'm at my best self, like I did the Enneagram, that personality test, I'm a 7. And
Okay.
I mean, it was like someone opened up my brain and described my personality in the spectrum. When I'm good, Oprah is a 7, MLK is a 7. Like
Yeah.
when I'm good, I'm just joyous and creative and people flock to me. When I'm bad, like Brene says, these terms like resilient and wise are these, as she describes, these gold-plated words, as if we just arrive here,
Mm-hmm.
as if we just become resilient because we're old. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
We become resilient because you turn and you go, oh my God, I've been running from love and belonging because I'm from an alcoholic dad who couldn't love me. Like, I mean, I know that's deep. I hope we didn't get, I hope that's okay to even say, but like, it's like, oh shit, these wounds are really old. Oh wow, I'm stuck because I actually don't think I'm worthy of love because I'm not a traditional beauty. I think I'm not worth being loved.
Yeah.
Like, I have to deprogram that so that I can be resilient and wise and pull everyone along that's afraid to feel these feelings. And I want to say, no, 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 you guys, turn in, look at it. It won't destroy you.
Yeah.
This pain won't destroy you. It's the only thing that's going to make the chrysalis that makes the next thing. Do you know what I mean?
I do. And coming from a 7, that's really powerful because there are so many 7s who will spend their lives running from that. If they, it will just run, run, run. And they are the high class caterpillars.
Totally, totally,
Yeah.
totally.
I'm very attracted to, I'm very curious about and attracted to 7s because I'm a 4 and I enjoy wallowing, in my in my uniqueness and my pain and my feelings. What you are helping me see right now is what the goo looks like from a 7's perspective. From a 4's perspective, I almost, I like swimming, and it's almost, I put my goggles and so on, like, let's swim around in the goo for a while.
We'll be here for a while. Yeah,
we'll be here for a while, And the thing about doing the work with me is, I will keep you there for a while. I'm like, no hurry, no hurry.
Yeah. We don't need lunch. We don't need lunch. Come in. I got 2. I have 2 snorkels. Look. Yeah.
So tell us, and I really hope, by the way, I'm so sorry for all of your losses. We spoke up front before I hit record about the loss of your parents. I did not know about the loss of your relationship, your dog, or your pregnancy. And I'm so sorry for that. That's really, really hard. That sucks. And God, we get it. Just stop. So I don't want to skip over and validate, but can you bring us over to the upswing of a 7? Like, bring us through, like, because when I imagine a butterfly, and also I would like to be reincarnated, if that's such a thing, as a flying creature, right? I would just like that freedom and perspective. And I watched the other day on YouTube because I don't watch television, but I do watch YouTube, and I do the YouTube rabbit hole really well. And I ended up somehow on the back of a fucking eagle flying over the Grand Canyon, and it was great. I loved it. And I was like, that's
Thank you, YouTube.
Dear God, in my next life, I want to be an eagle, and please place me somewhere living by the Grand Canyon.
In some kind of canyon in the southwest of the United States.
Real estate somewhere there in Red Rock County. But anyway, but it was fascinating to see, because that idea of being above the story, being above, as opposed to being the mouse on the ground and everything's in your fucking face. It's like being at a concert sitting behind a pole. There's all, it's just like, it's so hard to enjoy your life, the night, because there's this fucking pole there.
Are you having fun? Yeah, no, totally. I love this song. Yeah. No, yeah.
I imagine you as this, and it's the energy you give off. It's this, you are this eagle. There are no poles in front of you on your, let's say, in your strong, in your, like when you are not self-helping because everything is fine. And you have this movement called the Love Offensive. And it's about this, isn't it, Tara? It's about like carpe diem. It's about, we live here now. And so how do you live in that moment and celebrate it as if, now it's not as if it's never going to end, because you are very aware through life experience that the good times are going to end. And so you know how to milk, I think, my perception of you
Yes.
is that you know how to
Yes.
milk the goodness out of it. And that's what I want to speak to for my students in terms of like when something is working for you, when something is good, how do we enjoy it and savor and milk it?
uh, to me, it's one, and it can't, I mean, maybe it can be fake. It's 100% gratitude. You know what? And I don't even like that word anymore because it's so overused. I feel like I'm like reading a bumper sticker. But it's like how self-awareness is the key out. Gratitude to me is the key in, and I'll speak more to it. I mean, just using your the fact that you could hear, if anyone's even listening to this podcast, you're alive and well. And the amount, that's all from my mother's sickness. That's all from my mother's sickness. Watching that 25 years, I'm only 46.
Yeah.
Like, that's my whole entire life,
Yeah.
watching that. So, what you see is an urgency. You see an urgency in me and you like it. Not everybody likes it, right? Not everybody likes it. A lot of people, I'm sort of a lot, right off the bat. And I have this urgency because I think I just naturally have a lot of energy. Like I have a lot of strength. And watching my mom die that long and that slow, when I see people wallow in non-problems, which I shouldn't do because that's a scarcity mentality. I understand that. We're like you can't fucking like, oh, there was traffic. My mom has fucking Parkinson's, asshole. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do that, but I kind of do. And because I don't want to be a dick, I turn it to like, do you know how many miracles are happening inside of you simultaneously just to make you be able to reach? I mean, at the end of yoga class, I go, I mean, this is a really hard yoga class, power yoga, incredibly athletic. And at the very end, I go, bring your hands somewhere that feels like a genuine display of how you feel, an authentic position. If you feel like this, if you feel like this, if you feel like this. And my mom couldn't even do that. She could not move her arms in a genuine expression of how she felt.
Yeah.
I'm on that level of like granular gratitude.
Yeah.
Every single day I fall asleep going, thank you so much, God, for having my car start, getting me here safely. My dogs didn't and I fall asleep every night enumerating the amount of things that have gone right, because I've had a life that shit's gone wrong. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's a perspective. Maybe it is my travel all over the world where like, are you like, you're complaining? I watched a mother of 8 have to put cow dung all over the floor of her mud hut because that repelled snakes, and that's where her 4 children under 6 slept. I mean, so much perspective. My mother, travel, all of that has come in, that I'm so genuinely grateful that I have a roof over my head and I think about it all the time. And I think maybe that's my good part of 7. That's who I am at your wedding. That's who I am. And I didn't have kids, right? So I walk into a house with a family and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. Like, and I see it with fresh eyes because it's not the mundane thing that I'm used to.
Mm-hmm. When we talk about, let's say, the skills of a photographer and the things that necessary, it's necessary to have perspective in every way, that every definition of that word, and also to be aware of contrast, which is what you are aware of, is that, and the contrast has been very real and upfront in your life. It hasn't been in your you know, like it's something that you lived with, and that was in, you know, in the person you came from. It was like literally in your life. Whereas I think that, like, in other words, you had a teacher in your life whose suffering was a, the painful contrast, you know, like it was what kind of influenced and impacted your perception of the world. Whereas so many of us, like, we all have different influences, but so many, and women particularly, Tara, have been kind of like the influence in their lives in terms of their relationships with themselves and their bodies is culture. And that culture has us distracted by dieting and things like that. And I have been in recovery for the last few years also, of hating my body, a body that works perfectly fine and that has always been healthy, has always done everything I needed it to do. And that I say today, you know what, the body that I have been spent my life wishing away is a body that other people would fucking swap their lives for, probably.
Yes.
I have somebody else's ideal body. There are people,
Yes.
like you said, your mom couldn't even, if gratitude was a physical gesture,
Yes. Yes.
she
Yes.
couldn't even bring her hands together.
Yes.
And
Yes.
funny enough, when I lived in Boston, I did this kind of night watch shift with a friend of mine, because, you know, when you're in your 20s and you're Irish in Boston, the jobs that you do are just like you'd end up doing anything. And I had such a range of kind of mixers that I would do. We would just fill in the gaps for each other. It was six of us living in one, six of us living in a house, and only two of us had a key. The rest of us got in and out through the window, right?
In Dorchester, where'd you live?
I lived in Brighton.
Oh, amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
And the rest of us got
Amazing.
in the window up a fire escape. But me and my roommate drafted me in, and I used to sleep over with a woman whose only movement in her entire body was this. She could only move her little finger, and so we used to hoist her in and out of the bed, and and you'd sleep with her, and you'd kind of be up all night because she'd say, Amanda, can you scratch my ear, please?
Oh, God damn it.
You know what
Oh,
I mean? And so, like, that perspective, getting outside of ourselves. And so I want to be an eagle in my next life, because as a 4, and I love that we're talking Enneagram. As a 4, I have I am very self-centering. So I'll give you a kind of a funny, and not maybe all that funny, but it's funny because I'm self-aware enough. But my husband, when we first got together, who's a 9, used to say things to me, like he'd say to me, like, you're the center of my world, I love you to bits, blah, blah, blah. And I actually told my therapist at the time, I was like, I'm kind of afraid he might be a serial killer. A bit worried about that. And she's like, why? And I was like, nah, center of his world, I don't fucking think, I can't trust that. That doesn't, and so I eventually said to him, when he'd say, and I say it to him now as a joke, like, but it's true. He'd say, you're the center of my universe, babe. And I will make, well, then that makes 2 of us, because I am also the center of my universe.
Totally. Totally.
But
Totally.
the ability to get beyond ourselves and outside our stories, and to see, like you are doing, you are able to see more than what's in front of you, because what's in front of you was suffering, which is so painful for a 7. So this idea of I'm curious as to, this is always fascinates me about photographers. How is it that you see the person beyond the story of the identity maybe that they're stuck in? Because when you and me very first met, that was my christening, that was my coming out as an artist, even though I've been a creative all my life. It was my coming out as an artist. It was such a great time. But at the time, I definitely was carrying, I perceived myself in a way that, you're able to transcend, of course, because you're outside the story. But I've always been curious, how does a photographer see the thing that's right under our nose, but we don't see it? Essence. How do you do that?
Well, the fact that I'm pretty bossy probably helps. I've never been asked that question, but I'm just thinking of it right now and thinking bantery. I'm not, you know, people will even write me and be like, I don't know what to, I don't know what to wear. And like, and then I'll show up and they'll be like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, that's good because I'm not going to ask you what you should do. This is my photo shoot of you. Like, I'm the one at work. You're my subject. So stop talking and let me see you and let me celebrate you. And there's something about my personality that makes people feel comfortable and seen. And
Yeah.
I think it's because even in spite of everything that I was just telling you that I struggle, I am, for better or for worse, comfortable in my own skin. And I bring that out in people. And even if it's a teenager, like a high school senior portrait, and they're like, well, now what? Now what? Does my hair look right? Well, now what? Now what? Right? And I'll just absolutely be like I just did this, and I was like, listen, I'm free in my body, and I want you to be free in your body. Okay? I want you to look right at my camera, and I want you to feel absolutely fucking beautiful. Okay? Like, I just absolutely take charge. I'm not their mother. I'm not their friend. I'm not getting into it. I'm not getting into like, well, my left side's my good side because like, I got it. I'm also seeing that you don't look good on this picture, and I'm going to keep because I'm a professional. I've done it enough that I know angles. I can see you. I can see if you have this, I should get this angle. And I'll just keep working it. But I completely take charge of it. And so I don't want to hear your story, and that's another Brene thing. I love that we're talking Brene too, that's, I think, what she means by get out of the story, and then like in Bantry, when, just for people that are listening, there was 40 people. I spent 30 minutes with each of the 40 doing their portrait. I was flying, and everyone felt good. And then they feel good because I'm genuinely giving them feedback that has nothing to do with their stories of what they look like, and even if they start like, well, do I look fat from this? Like, they're just not going to start it. They're just not going to keep going because I have so completely been like, you gave me the keys and I'm driving the bus. You're allowed to just feel awesome right now. Imagine that, to go back to my sense of humor, to not make sure I'm putting myself down so that everybody else feels comfortable around me, so that I fit in, so that I'm liked, so that, right? It's like these habits start to really, things that fire together, wire together, right? Like these things really start to become people's patterns, mine and yours. And because I struggle so much with like self-loathing on appearance, I mean, the irony that I'm a portrait photographer is like, I'm probably saying what I need to hear. I'm probably helping us both. Like, enough of that. Enough of your talk. Really, I need someone to say that to me, to be like, listen, dude, you're a beautiful person.
Yeah.
Okay. You're a beautiful person. Okay. No, stop it. You're like TikTok. You're going to be dead soon. Let's go. So.
Yeah. What I absolutely love about what you're saying here is that, one of the most powerful and special to me poems, which really is scripture, which is the beautiful song by the Birds, turn, 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 to everything there is a season, right? And there are times, so here's a 4 and a 7, and it's a beautiful combination. So there are times to go into the goo and look at it and let's look around. And then there are times to stop. Get out of the story. Don't be like, go and have a swim every now and again in your goo and your personal, and all of that stuff. But remember to come back out, that you are a land and a sea creature. You don't have to be one or the other. And so it sounds to me like you have that ability. So you definitely have an 8 wing.
I would say.
100%,
Yeah. So
100%. I'm
you
a
were able,
7, and the next one is the 8.
yeah. So you're able to say to a person, stop, I'm a professional, and your story is getting in the way of our work. So that resistance coming, and what I love about it as well is you are resisting the story from a place of love,
Yes.
not
Yeah.
from a place of fear or shame, or because you're not interested, or because you don't care, or because the person should suffer. It's that, no, it's like that line in the Liz Gilbert book that apparently her husband, in Eat, Pray, Love, previous to, like, when their love relationship kind of, the day it kicked off, when he said to her, you know what, it is enough. That's enough now. Let's move forward. And somebody said it to me oh no, I had a conversation with a client the other day, and it actually came out of me, and because she was going she kept falling into her story because it was so normal, and she was so kind of spinning in the thing of her story, and I ended up just cutting her off and saying, enough, you're in your story, and that's not the totality of you. The other thing I'm very curious about, and I know that my students all would have gone when you said it, so I have to circle back for them, for us, for me. What the hell does it mean to be free in your body?
Yeah. Not so conscious, not so self-conscious. It's that I don't care about looking good, right? That's her definition of authentic. I don't care about um social norms and shit like that. Like, I don't care about how you're supposed to act at a blah blah blah, or because I think my parents were like stitching it together as they went, and I didn't even mean to. I've never even used the word authentic, but the more I see, like, I teach with my eyes closed, and rock back and forth at weddings. I sit down in the middle of the bed with everybody, and I don't care if that's inappropriate. Like, and I'm not conscious, and so people are comfortable around me because I'm comfortable, and I don't. I'm not like, oh, I guess that we walk into a cocktail party and first say, like, or like, oh, Tara, you should probably brush your hair. Like it just, I don't know. I think it means that I don't care about looking good for people, even though I wore makeup to this Zoom call.
Okay, so does this also mean that are you aware of social expectations and you just don't conform to them?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
That they don't have power over you?
Yeah. Yeah. A free spirit is sort of the other way to say it.
Yeah, definitely a free spirit. But this idea, like when you said that what you say to a person, or especially a teenager who is so self-conscious, that you say to them, like, stop, I am free in my body, and I want you to be free in yours. I'm so curious what that means, because I remember going to a yoga teacher a few years ago, and I wanted one-on-one lessons. I mean, she was like, what do you want to achieve? I said, I want to know what the fuck everyone is talking about when they say get in your feet. I was like, what does that mean? And she actually taught me what it means. And it was the beginning of my journey to, the formal way of saying it is interoceptive awareness, right? Now, the other day, I have a story that I tell that I've always had this story that I have a shit relationship with my body. I haven't a clue what's going on in my body. And it's actually not true. Mm-hmm. And I've been getting that feedback lately. Like, I was getting physiotherapy done, and the physiotherapy was like, she was doing this exercise with me, and she needed me to adjust a very slight positioning of my hip. And I did it perfectly. And she was like, wow, you have really good interoceptive awareness. And I was like, and now I'm allowing that feedback to come in. My trainer said to me as well, she was like, you're really good at taking instruction because you have that ability to micro move. And then yesterday, Sunday, I think, today's whatever day it was, but anyway, I got these resistance bands, and my husband is a trucker. So I was showing him some exercises on the resistance bands that he could do, on the road.
On the road.
And I was like, oh contrast. He couldn't, when I'd say, no, lift this hand and that hand, he was like, this kind of thing. He couldn't coordinate his body. And I saw the contrast and I was like, actually, I am good at this. I am good.
Yeah, I mean, that's such a story, especially with women. We numb ourselves with food and alcohol and scrolling and busying and, and
control. Tara.
Yes. I mean, it's like feeling your body. I mean, I'm so active that feeling your body is an anchor to your thoughts, right? Deciding to get in your feet, right, is to take all the amazing things you could do with your mind that are mostly time traveling aspects, future, past, just regret, fear, planning, maybe in a positive way, creativity, using your sensation mind, it pulls you out of this hamster wheel of thoughts and separation and fear and anxiety and rumination. And to feel your feet is, for a split second, you're free of suffering, because you can only actually do one thing at a time with your mind. And if feeling your feet, it's such a blink of an eye. But if you can start to strain, now you reach your arms up, and doesn't that feel good over your guts? Now let's start to feel our guts instead of numb our guts, right? And then all like, I mean, that's to be, and then you're coordinated, and now you've just thrown, because I'm not an athlete, I must just not be fit. I'm an artist. I'm not an athlete. Like, I see lots of, when I try to teach yoga to Florida students, they hate it. They hate it because they're all like our age women that have never been athletic. So the story is I just don't do that. And it's just, I mean, that's the courage to untangle that shit,
What's coming through to me really interestingly here, which I didn't really expect this to go this way, but I'm happy to go that way, is this idea of getting past our stories. I think so many of us struggle to know what it means to be free in our bodies, because we have developed a story that we have shit
shame
agency within our bodies, because we have been shit at controlling our weight. So there's this, like, because I haven't been able to control my body, it's a bad body and I'm a bad person.
Yes.
And so this falling out of oneself. So the grasping, like, it has taken me 3 years to get beyond. If somebody said, what do you want? I've been trying to clarify an intention for 3 years, and I finally clarified the intention. And interesting, Flora was one of my teachers, because I have observed Flora and I'm like, what is it about her that I'm seeing? I don't know. And only this year, I think, I was like, she's relaxed in her body.
Very, very.
Holy shit. And so that was kind of teaching me. And when I teased it out with my advisor, like my spiritual advisor, she helped me frame the intention, because I could not frame the intention. Again, this is getting outside the story. I was stuck in the story that I was not allowed be at home in my body. Or sorry, I switched it around. I kept saying, my story was, somebody would say, you just love your body as it is. And I would always have the but I can't, because and the sentence I end up was, I can't love this body until it changes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I had an epiphany one day. I said, oh my God, I keep listening to the mind as if that it's the mind speaking that, but I think it's actually the body speaking to my mind. It's my body is saying to me, you are not allowed to live here until you change.
Okay, so it's so interesting, because that is a belief of unworthiness. That's an absolute belief of unworthiness, that when I have crystallized what I'm going through, and like, I've traveled the world and been super independent and crushed every career and I'm about to start my 5th company, and because it's actually, oh, does it look good? And you wanted me to be the fourth quadrant in the butterfly? Oh, shoot. Because I'm realizing that it's actually all a base of complete unworthiness of being like even lovable. Right. And then to admit that, people are like, right? Because they don't want to hear it. Right. But if you go to weight, right, if you go to physical weight, right, that's eating. Right. So me, you, everyone, right? If we don't want to drink, if we don't want to smoke it away, if we don't want to marijuana it away, or heroin it away, or shop it away, or fucking busy it away, or dust away, there is a feeling under there that me, you, everybody is afraid to feel. And so comforting ourselves is actually numbing the thing. And the thing might be that we're afraid to die. Like a really big, like the epitome of all fear.
Afraid to live.
Was that?
Even afraid to live.
Exactly. So here we are, me, you, everybody is going, oh, wait. If I just Weight Watchers did, if I just did this, that's a symptom of being of numbing. Now, the way more juicier question besides what's a carbohydrate and what's a keto diet is, what are you afraid of? That I'll sit cross-legged with my girlfriends till the sun comes up. That is the juice. That is the juice. And for me to, on a podcast, I don't even know where this is going to my dead father, to be like, I wasn't loved right by my primary caregiver. I hope that's not like turn into the back of the book for everybody. If you want, like, that's it. That's it. I don't think I'm worthy of love. I have used my looks to be the thing that makes me unworthy. If it was something else, it would be something else. I have just honed that because I'm not a button-nosed beauty, that I can't be loved. And that's from my father. Rest your soul, dude. You did your best, and it's like, wait, like, and all this stuff got hooked into us, Amanda, when we were young. There's some artist out there that's a beautiful artist that has a beautiful backdrop, like you have, of every kind of format you could possibly do to create, going back and back and back. Someone said something to you that just went, and they thought they were gone, and it's like a sliding doors moment. And we went here, and then we start to numb. And the food numbing is a unique thing. I've been an anorexic and a binge eater, and been to Overeaters Anonymous and everything. Everyone can see it. If we were smokers, if we were drinkers, which I know we both definitely tend to do, we wouldn't wear it so much, and we have so much judgment. God forbid we have put worth on fitness.
Yeah.
You have it all together. You're fit. You're in control. You won't die. You won't get sick. Bad things won't happen to you. You can control it all because you have controlled your weight for 35 years going. You wore those Wranglers in high school. You're better than everyone. You have controlled it all. Look at her. She's out of control. And it's like, oh, baby, you ain't in control. You ain't in control. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it's just an illusion.
This is almost full circle. You have witnessed that there is no control. You have witnessed that in such a painful way with your mother. That control is an illusion. And what we have been sold is a donkey at the Grand National. Like, control is not going to win. And in fact, winning is not the point. But because it's not a competition and love is not scarce. There is enough to go around.
Yes.
I love this idea. I got this from Dr. Anita Johnson from her wonderful book, Eating in the Light of the Moon. I have 2 copies. This is the copy that hasn't fallen apart yet. So I have another one there. And she makes a distinction in it, the difference between So she breaks down our understanding of power. And the culture that we live in right now, it's a patriarchal understanding of power, which is marked by dominance and competition and dog eat dog, and the person with the most X or the least X, wins and is the most valuable members of society, right? That's dominance.
Yeah.
And with that model of power, somebody has to lose in order for somebody to win. So somebody has to be deprived of power in order for me to have it. So if you and me were in a power struggle, each of our agendas would be to deprive the other one of power in order that we can have it, or to surrender our power so that you can have it, because I'm not going to compete with you. You obviously have the power, in whatever way you have. But what she says is that there's another way to understand power, and that it is the feminine model of power, and that it is dominion. So the masculine dominance model of power is an effort, a striving to have power over circumstance, a power over people, a power over the body that you live in, a power over the weather, anything, so to have power over, whereas dominion is to have power within. So power within a circumstance, power within the body that I have. So the power that I have within the body that I have is that I get to not give a fuck. Like, I go and I swim every day down at the local lake. There was a time in my life where I would have to travel 3,000 miles to a country that doesn't speak English, and that hopefully doesn't have any Irish people in it. I mean, good luck with that you wouldn't meet anyone, just so that I could be in a swimsuit and the report not get back that somebody saw me and I was a disgrace. Now I go down to my local swim places, I get into my swimsuit, and I actually feel the power every day, my feminine expression of power, because I have the thought, because that's my conditioning, oh my God, they're looking at you, or oh my God, and actually they're not. That's what I've discovered from putting myself in this situation, is that actually nobody notices.
Yes.
So I go down there every day, but I do think to myself, and it's funny, it's when teenagers are around or young men come around, that seems to be my trigger point. When they come around, I find, so it's the male gaze. Hello, I exist to look good for you. I have to be, excuse me, everybody, I have to be fuckable. Excuse me for using that term, because there's probably people going, oh, but it's like, because I don't have that value in I don't have that currency, I immediately I can feel the inclination to shrink. But I stand there in my fucking swimsuit and I say, the power today is that I get to say, you know what, that's a them issue, and whatever is in their mind, I don't have to control that. The good news is the power I have within this circumstance is that I get to jump in this lake and have a lovely fucking swim.
Yes. And the awareness that what you're doing and witnessing it is good news, because that means you're not in it.
Yes.
When we were in the 7th grade, the 8th grade, the 9th grade, we were in it. Like you don't even know you're in a thing, right? No. The fact that you're witnessing is right on. It's like, that is your only key out, is self-awareness. That's what that means, right? That is amazing. That's absolutely amazing. Sometimes this story is so loud that you just have to, even before you believe it, Tara Brach says, is you just have to go through the motions of self-love and start to just fire those thoughts.
Exactly.
Just fire them.
Absolutely.
Just fire them.
Yes.
Just stand up with muck. Right, to go back to your number 4 Enneagram, to just with muck like a fucking swamp thing, and just walk out and just have the guts. Just have the guts to be like, that's a story. No, but it's true. No, it's a story. Oh, I know, but it's totally accurate. It's like, it's work.
My mantra for getting out of my 4-ness is, this isn't about me. That's not about me. It's not about me. And it has helped me out of so many situations. So when I'm standing there vulnerable in my swimsuit, I say to myself, this isn't even about me. Nothing here is about me. It's
Yeah.
not about me. So I can get outside of myself and my story. So
Yeah.
I think that we could nearly bring this full circle by saying that if you are suffering, yes, there is valid suffering and needing, trauma needs to be healed and tended to and worked through. But if there is powerlessness in the story and you are not, you are operating in that model of, I lose because I can't control my circumstances, I don't have power over. Whereas what we, as in healing ourselves, we have to remember, this sucks, but I have power within these circumstances. I can choose to be uncomfortable, but I do have, I think that if we cannot be in our body, so that's, I think, probably why I am on some level intuitively drawn to you. See, here's the thing, my to be at home in my body is kind of such a fantasy because I've never been there. It's never actually been an experience. So it's interesting to me. I was thinking to myself, who are my people for this square? And it is the likes of you and Flora and people who I'm looking at them and I don't know what it is I'm looking at. So it's almost like the baby, pre-verbal baby who doesn't understand hunger, doesn't understand nutrition as concepts, doesn't understand any concept related to how the body works in terms of hunger and satiety, but does understand that the bottle is what makes it go away and knows how to point at the bottle. I don't know what that, it doesn't even know it's called a bottle, doesn't know what's in the bottle, but I just know that it's that.
Yes.
That's what I'm kind of doing with you right now. I was just like, that's why I think I follow you and am observing you through your life and Flora and things like that, because I'm looking and I'm saying, I don't know what it is I'm seeing, but I want it. And I think we've gotten there, is that it is this freedom in the body. And what that seems to mean is that it is life beyond story.
Yes. Yes. And the numbing piece. The numbing piece is really big too, is the guts and the courage to know that difficult feelings will not destroy us. And if you have to start at laying on your back and doing a spinal twist through the guts, knees drop over to one side, knees drop to the other, cat cow stretches, arms up over the head, forward fold, to just get into feeling the body, that when a difficult emotion comes up is the same as a difficult stretch or strength in the body. This is the opposite of numbing. This is fully alive. This is the good part of my 7. This is like, I'm brave. That's another, like, I'm just like, just look at it, just say it, just admit it. What do you think, you're gonna die? Fuck it, we're gonna. Are you okay with that concept? You're gonna die. No, I know, we know that the concept is out there. That means you, right? Does that, you know what I mean? And like, like, because of my mother, because of my mother's sickness, is just like, this is all going to end, and it doesn't mean we're, I know, like when I was 44, I was like, maybe I'm halfway home. Bullshit, Tara. Who died and told you you'd be 88? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, it's just like,
it's midlife.
Exactly. How arrogant. It's here now. It's here. There's an urgency that I absolutely live with, and it's 100% from watching my mother die like that. Like that started at 53. Come on, who's going to Europe? Let's go. It's like that.
And numbing is the ultimate expression of powerlessness.
Yes.
Where there is numbing, there is powerlessness. And again, where there is powerlessness, there is an understanding of power as binary. When you have it, I don't.
Yes.
And it is to say, where is it that I can, and also because when we are in that binary, thinking it's a binary, but then we are also feeding the idea of competition, and then we are also feeding the idea that love is a scarce commodity, and that is a lie.
Yes.
And so
we're unworthy of it. and we're there's a lot of us, maybe not you, but there's a lot of
Mero-
us that feel that.
yeah, and this idea of meritocracy, that love is given on merit. That's not how it works. You are loved. Like when my dog, anybody who has dogs or pets, I think, especially dogs, they're the most beautiful teachers of unconditional love, because you could be, oh, this is such a cute, good boy, blah, blah, 1 minute, and then do the most putrid fart of your life the next minute. And I don't know why I picked that as a example. But the dog doesn't be like, you're disgusting. Like,
Yeah.
love you even when you are farting, puking, at your ugliest, being an asshole, whatever. I just love that about my dog, is that he doesn't see or hear my story. I don't exist in static terms with him.
Yeah, and even not just puking and farting, but when you lose, and not that I've ever really, because that's a real red flag for me, but when you lose your patience with them, or when you're in a rush, or when I'm like, come on, get out of my feet, like.
Yeah, I have one, beep.
Yeah. I mean, they just.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dogs have saved my life. I think everyone should have one.
Yeah, they love you no matter what. Tara, how do you feel about that conversation, and what is your takeaway personally? What is your takeaway?
Well, I loved every second of it. That's the number one feeling I have. And I think I need to like sort of reflect on it a little bit, because I feel like I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. And sometimes having to put into words, it just is interesting to have you see me as one thing, and I don't see that in myself. So for me to be like, oh right, I got to remember that, like, oh right, I just like, but the Enneagram helped me know that it's a spectrum. It's not either or. It's like when and that we go like this our whole lives, and not to be ashamed that I'm in the muck again, or coming out of it, or whatever, that it's a necessary point of feeling the joy of it.
How amazing is it that I'm here reflecting that back to you, when the first gift you ever gave to me was to see something that I had
Yes.
lost sight of myself.
Yes. I guess that you have very good friends, and I have very good friends. And when I think of the fact that I don't have a partner, I know that just like in chemistry, when you're in a covalent bond, you're completely bonded with that person, and that's a beautiful thing. But when you aren't, you have way more opportunities to foster very deep relationships and experiences that you wouldn't have with that covalent bond.
Yeah.
And I think friendship is like one of the richest things a life has to offer. And and that's what we are, and it's like, even though we don't have to spend that much time together, just the gift we've already given each other is like, I'm walking away from this conversation pepped up. It's just really, it's a real gift, Amanda. Thank you.
I love you to bits. It's brilliant. And when we talk about losing our parents, one of the things that I learned about my dad, my dad's dying, is that I think so many of us are afraid to die. Because I've said to my students that I am working on my eulogy right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I really am, because I'm working on the story I want told. I want to live the story.
Yes.
And
yes, that's so good.
That's what I'm doing. I want to live the story I want to tell. And so I watched my father, who never surrendered to anything, was self-will run right. This is what I was going to say. My father was a 7, right?
Oh.
So, but didn't do the inner work. So he was,
Yeah.
he was a 7. He's a comedian, but he also, I think, so many of us are afraid of dying because we're not living truthfully. We're not honoring the life we've been given.
Yes.
And I watched my father for the first time in my life surrender on his final walk. And he went gladly and triumphantly across the threshold because he did live. And so he had no fear of death when it came. And that's what I want. I want for death to be a triumph because I lived, and I have a vision that I am going to be asked on the other side or wherever it is, that God will ask me, did you enjoy your life? Did you enjoy the thing I gave you? And I do not want to say no. I want to be able to say yes. And then I want to be able to say, and now can you make me an eagle, please?
Yeah. Totally. I'll see you up there. I'll be an osprey.
Tara, I love your spirit so much, and thank you for being here and for jumping into the goo with me and figuring out how to have this conversation, what it was about. Because the square four is not my strong suit, as in I still have not my butterfly wings. I've just come out of the chrysalis, and I'm still like, I don't really know how these things work. So yeah, this was not my strength. Thank you for feeling around in the dark for me here.
Oh my God, I love you so much, Amanda. Thank you for asking. It was an honor. Thank you.